The old house stood on a hill, overlooking the village like a silent sentinel. Its windows, like empty eyes, stared out from the darkness, giving an eerie feeling to anyone who dared to look. The house was a monument to decay, its paint peeling in long strips, its timbers rotting and creaking with every gust of wind. Villagers whispered of the house, calling it cursed, haunted, a place where shadows moved on their own. They said it was home to restless spirits trapped between worlds, unable to find peace. No one dared to approach the house, fearing the stories were true and that the spirits would reach out and pull them into the darkness, never to return.
Scoffed at the stories? Absolutely. As a journalist known for my skepticism, I sought the truth. Armed with my notepad, a flashlight, and a voice recorder, I climbed the hill. Tonight, I would debunk the myths and expose the house for what it was, just an old building.
She pushed open the creaking door and stepped inside. Dust motes danced in the flashlight beams, swirling in the air like tiny spirits. Cobwebs clung to every surface, draping the room in a shroud of neglect and time. Clara walked through the house, her footsteps echoing in the silence, each step a reminder of the emptiness that surrounded her. In the living room, a large portrait hung above the fireplace. It depicted a stern-looking man with piercing blue eyes that seemed to bore into her soul.
As I stared at the portrait, I felt a chill run down my spine. The man's eyes seemed to follow my every move, watching me with an intensity that made my skin crawl.
She continued down a hallway, her heart pounding louder with each step. In a dusty mirror, she glimpsed a shadowy figure standing behind her, its presence sending a wave of fear through her body.
Turning quickly, I found nothing but empty shadows, the room playing tricks on my mind. The flickering lights added to the eerie atmosphere, making it hard to distinguish reality from illusion.
A cold dread began to creep into her heart, spreading like ice through her veins. She could feel the weight of unseen eyes upon her, watching her every move.
Eerie whisper. You shouldn't have come here. The whisper echoed in the darkness, a chilling reminder that she was not alone in this forsaken place.
Clara descended into the basement. The air grew heavy, thick with the smell of mildew and decay. The darkness seemed to press in on her, suffocating.
She heard whispers, soft and indistinct, coming from the shadows. Then a low growl sent shivers down her spine.
Her hand trembled as she held the flashlight steady, its beam cutting through the oppressive darkness. Panic surged through Clara. She turned to flee, but the basement door slammed shut with a resounding boom. She rattled the doorknob, but it wouldn't budge. She was trapped.
The whispers grew louder, swirling around her like a vortex of tormented souls. A cold hand brushed against her cheek and she screamed, her voice echoing through the empty house. The next morning, the villagers found Clara's recorder on the doorstep. It was an old-fashioned tape recorder, something you don't see much these days, adding to the eerie feeling that something was terribly wrong. Fear turned to horror as they listened to the final, chilling moments of her recording. The tape crackled with static, but Clara's voice was clear, filled with terror and desperation.
Clara's terrified screams were cut short, replaced by an eerie silence. The abrupt end to her cries left the villagers in a state of shock, their minds racing with questions and dread.
Then a raspy voice, barely audible, whispered, "She's one of us now." The voice was otherworldly, sending chills down their spines as if the very air around them had turned cold.
Driven by a mixture of dread and morbid curiosity, the villagers broke into the house. The old, decrepit building creaked under their weight, each step echoing through the empty halls. They found the basement wall defaced with a message scrawled in what appeared to be dried blood. The sight was gruesome, the words almost pulsating with a sinister energy. It read, "Beware the whispers, for they hold you captive." The message was a stark warning, a chilling reminder of the unseen forces at play. Clara was never seen again. Her disappearance became a haunting legend, a story whispered in hushed tones among the villagers.
The whispers continued to haunt the village, a constant reminder of the night Clara vanished. The shadows seemed to move on their own, whispering secrets that no one dared to understand.